As the heroes crossed the threshold from the swamp and beyond the newly opened dam, they found a room with lush brush in the center and more doors to what they hoped was freedom. The room suddenly sprang to life with fast-growing plants and vines, and following that, a thick mist filled the area, and the heroes were set upon by a strange, fungal-like creature with larvae all about where its face ought to have been. With quick thinking and the use of fire and Volok's dye, the creature was put down before it could contribute any more environmental dangers. Finding their way through, they discovered a very large chamber, adorned with little save a massive stone-carved skull upon a dais. Here, the Lady's Whisper lay in wait again. As the heroes approached the creature for more guidance, they felt hateful whispers in their minds and quickly found themselves on the receiving end of the creature's hostility. A quick and dangerous battle ensued, and as the heroes were gaining the edge, the Lady's Whisper cast a spell and became nothing more than vapor before their eyes.
Hello there, creatures, and welcome to Stemming the Tide, episode 158, title TBD. It's probably funny.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Love that app.
Ideally, it's funny. We're not very good at the dramatic titles, so it ought to be funny.
Yeah, and there's enough funny cats in this room.
Meow.
So, I was thinking the other day about a piece of advice that just seemed to be throwaway advice that my brother gave to me once. And it's kind of always stuck with me, and the context has evolved based on the situation I'm in. But the piece of advice is, life is too short for a bad shower. And he was directly talking about my shower head. Like, this isn't an allegory or a metaphor or anything. Like, he just point blank, like, you've got a shit shower head. You should do something about it because life's too short for that. And I think about that way more often than he probably ever meant me to, because sometimes I think if it's just a cheap and an easy thing to fix, and it will make that big of an upgrade on my life, why aren't I doing it? So that kind of just lives with me nowadays. And I was wondering if there's anything that has struck y'all that was just like a throwaway piece of advice that has just ended up dictating more of your life than you ever thought possible.
I got one. In my youth, I was on a trip partying with a bunch of people on a mountain, little ski trip. And I was mixing together a cocktail. It was vodka soda. And
Not a cocktail, by the way, by definition.
vodka Red Bull.
Oh, that changes things.
I poured like a fucking lukewarm Red Bull into this glass of vodka and just started drinking it. And my friend Jaime, shout out, basically just grabbed me by my shirt and was just like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, I don't know, just making a drink. And he's just like, dude, ice makes a drink. And it just, I don't like, you know, I've been a bartender after that. Like, yeah, I mean, it was disgusting. And I just, you know, kind of like live my life like I deserve disgusting things. And so you know what?
You just not to?
Yeah, you gotta treat yourself a little bit. You know, put some ice in that lukewarm cocktail you're sipping on, because you deserve it, listeners. You fucking deserve it.
Yeah.
Treat yourself.
So many thoughts right now.
Ooh.
It's crazy.
Also, cold beer in a warm shower beer. That's the best.
Hard to argue.
We've connected the first two.
Yep.
That's amazing.
All right, Duncan, what do you got?
On a little more serious note, one of my first jobs out of high school was working like doing landscape installations, like this landscaping company that this guy, he was like super intimidating, just like rough talking, like former, championship power lifter, just like this super angry dude, like pissed off all the time. But he taught me a lot of lessons on how to work hard, and one of them was like, it was like this super fucking hot day. We were rolling out sod on like these new development houses, and the construction company guy was there. And me and some guy from the construction company just kind of like haphazardly laid a bunch of boards out. And the guy from the construction company started yelling at us about, what the fuck are we doing? And my boss came up and yelled at me about like, come on, someone else is going to have to deal with that shit. And then he ended up getting in a bigger fight with the guy that was yelling at us for yelling at us than actually yelling at us. And that kind of struck me. But it also, like, that advice, it really clarified, like, a few years later. I was, like, in the hospital while I was taking my electronics degree. And the Judge John Hodgman podcast really clarified it in the words, like, great podcast, by the way, but it's always be mindful of the work that you leave for others. And I heard that at a very good time, like when I was about to get into what I'm doing now, because that's a lot of what I do is like making sure everything's ready to go for the actual work to get done in the hospital. But it did always kind of stick with me to, be mindful of the shit that you're leaving behind you. And, and I can't say it as eloquently as Ol Acid did, RIP, by the way. Because, I just can't swear that much. I'd probably get canceled.
Yeah. Fair enough. Good.
Well, that's great advice. Cam, you got anything you want to share with the class?
Oh, Dunk literally just had the one that I was thinking, and it was one of my first jobs ever at Chipotle. It was just some 22-year-old stoner that just said, like, leave it easier for the next guy. And just that really stuck with me, just like, be mindful of the person that's coming after you that's going to have to do work. And it's something that I try my best. ADHD makes it fucking hard. Like, I will just literally zoom off and go somewhere else. But I guess just to have a different one, my grandfather used to always say, like, are we having fun yet? When things were bad. And it was always just like, make your own fun. Like, life can suck. You can look at it any way you want to, and you can just have fun. Like, and so that is something that I am very good at, is like, it doesn't matter if we're getting shit on. It doesn't, like, I'm just going to have fun. Like, I will choose happiness over a lot of other things just because, life's hard enough. Be happy.
Yeah. As best as you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
Choose it. Yeah.
And it's nice to remind yourself every now and again that you're in control of your own happiness as well. It's not just the effect that the universe has on you. That's great. I love that. All right, Freeman, take us home.
I mean, I've got multiple thoughts, of course, on all of these things. One thing's for sure is I have a lot of thoughts on ice regarding to drinks.
Fuck ice.
No, not fuck ice. Any chef will tell you, and it's this sort of advice that someone making a cocktail should adhere to. A recipe is only as good as your execution, and ice is a key part of your execution. Ice is extremely important in drink making. Probably one of the most important things. Way, way underrated. But I think I have two particular examples I want to bring up. I'm going to bring up the first one that's a little more lighthearted, and it's credit to James. And it's this weird, I don't remember the context or why this had come up, but I remember James saying, I really don't remember why, but I remember the moment being important to me. And his perspective he simply said to me, there's always time for a conversation. And it was something to do with like professional work or an opportunity that I didn't think he'd be interested in. But no matter what I thought about what he, his attitude would be, his response was, there's always time for a conversation. And I've always kept that in mind, because it's like, don't close the door on yourself before you move forward, right? Like, why would you, right?
One of my go-tos is nobody has ever been hurt by a conversation. So it's probably
right, yeah.
some...
That was probably the line, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a conversation could be as short as 5 seconds or as long as hours, but if you can make the time, why not? Like, what have you got to lose? So that always stuck with me. But I think the more serious one that I have is, I remember it wasn't all that long ago, and I was having a sort of stubborn debate with a friend of mine about the free choice of words that you use and how it affects other people. And it kind of came from this friend having worked in a place that was restricting certain words to use in part of service. It was in a restaurant. And there was a part of me that was a bit stubborn about like, okay, just don't go so far into restricting just casual words that are kind of the norm. And I won't get into specifics, but I ended up retracting my argument later when I was listening to a podcast from The Illusionist, and it discussed a very similar topic. The episode's called Dude, and it covered actually like trans experiences with trans people. And I don't remember the exact quote, but everyone here has heard me say this already. I don't know if I've ever said it on mic, but the general idea was context and intention are very important, but they're not more important than impact. And because you can mean a certain something, but that will not necessarily come across. The context of the situation could also direct it in a certain way, but not everyone is sharing the same context. But what is more important is the impact of what you said had on an individual, whether you're talking to them directly or they're listening passively. Impact is more important than your intention and the context. And I've actually put that into role play. I've put that into the games that we do, the podcasts that we run, trying to use that as an element of how do I portray this character? Not even just a social lesson of how to better speak to people around me so that they're more comfortable and that I'm not being some white ass mansplaining piece of shit even by mistake, I think it's a really important lesson all in all. And I try to keep that in mind.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. Thank you all for sharing. And if any of our listeners have any, we, pop on over to our Discord and throw them up there for us. We love hearing that kind of stuff. But for your listening pleasure, let's figure out how we're going to make an impact on this mist of a lady's whisper.
Hey.
Gust of wind.
Like a fart in a fan factory.
Oh, you got canceled. Oh my god. This one's for Rogue Leader. Gust of wind dance. Only Rogue Leader's gonna get that.
He's fucking laughing his ass off right now.
That's okay.
You better be. Good shower having motherfucker.
Yeah. So you finally have come blow to blows with the Lady's Whisper. You've surrounded this creature. And suddenly it's cast a spell to turn into vapor. You, as far as our notes go, it's actually been a little bit, listeners, since we recorded. But as far as memory serves, and I think James double checked, everyone took a reactive strike, or those who could missed, and suddenly it's turned into effective vapor. I think I misspoke at some point in the last episode about how maybe this creature is suddenly turned incorporeal or is untouchable. That's not strictly true. However, what I will say is it is, of course, this creature's turn, or the end of its turn. It has turned into some sort of form of vapor, and is standing or is floating all mistily in between you all, and it is Beryl's turn.
What a shitty time to lose my reaction. Recognize spell.
Yeah.
Do I get the feeling this thing is completely incorporeal, or is it more of just a misty vapor?
It is a misty vapor. It is. Yeah, I feel like the mistake I made last time was that it implied that this thing couldn't be hit, or some such. That is not necessarily the case.
Okay. Then I'm going to. Beryl is going to create a small opening with her fist and blow through it, casting frostbite, attempting to bring these vapors into crystalline snowflake form.
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
That's some good flavor right there.
And so I need a fortitude save.
Fortitude save. 22.
That is a failure, but I rolled pretty poorly for 14 points of cold damage.
Okay. But yeah, you start to probably about half of the vapor that is there forms into crystals and starts to like frost crystals and starts to shatter and fall to the ground. You've dealt a pretty decent blow. What else you got?
You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and swing the polarizing mace.
Why not?
Why not? 28 to hit. Flanking?
That is a miss.
Damn it.
Oh no, it's a miss. Yeah, it's a miss.
Oh well.
Flanking. Yeah.
All right. That's my turn. All 3 actions.
Okay. Next up is Harold. Harold flanking with Ruff.
That's right. And you know what Harold gonna do? Strike.
Harold's got the old exploit vulnerability on already, so
Yeah, what you got? That is gonna be a 22 to hit.
nope.
Strikes out again. Map -4. Yikes. 17 to
Natural
hit.
3, natural 2.
You know what? Fuck it. -8.
Here we go.
Swinging for the fences. And he just says, hoping that someone's going to listen, if you fill the back of the shovel, the front will take care of itself. So 16.
What's that even mean?
Well, he looked good doing it.
He looks so good doing it.
That's good advice.
I don't know what that means at all. Okay, Harold's turn. Miss. Raphael flanking with Harold.
Come on, baby.
Raphael will spend his first 2 actions to spell strike.
There's nothing quite like this. Like when you start the episode mid combat, and you swing 3 times and miss. And you sort of don't care because we're just getting started. You know.
Yep. It's a 38 to hit though.
Yeah, that hits. That definitely hits. Yeah.
Flanking.
Flanking is not a crit. No.
Right. So that is 15 slashing and 14 fire.
Okay. Describe how you destroy vapor that then turns into an undead skeleton and crumples to the ground.
Oh,
Ruff, with his free hand, reaches into his belt pouch, pulls out a match, and lights it on the side of his blade, causing his cold iron longsword to catch on fire. And as he swipes through the mist, it just like flicks and the mist turns into these embers, which eventually reconstitute into the charred corpse of yonder Lady's Whisper.
Love it.
Hell yeah.
The Lady's Whisper is soundly defeated. And upon its defeat, it crumples to the ground in a smattering of bones, just being kind of rolling all over the place in every direction. And as soon as, or shortly after, the sort of unhewn rock wall to the north of you begins to just like vibrate and then slowly sink down into the floor, opening a passageway through to the previous room.
can you make that sound for me?
Oh, it's full of jelly.
Ew. I didn't pick that up on Discord, but I know that sounded disgusting.
It really did. In fact, as this wall comes down, you can see beyond it that the doors away reopen. You can actually hear sounds of the iris mechanisms on the pipes opening. as if all of the doors that would have been locked in some capacity by this creature have sprung open and have become unlocked.
Harold kind of kicks the bones on the ground and says, like my grandmother said, nothing good ever happens after midnight.
Your grandmother is a very wise woman, but also very boring.
She must have been well rested.
She must have also had a lot of nightmares.
Do you think perhaps we can go take a lie down?
Yes, I think we should perhaps return to Otari for the night and consider our next movements. It appears we have cleansed this bit of the temple, the trials of Nimbaloth, and we are still yet missing one of the lenses.
You sure you don't want to open the next door?
And Beryl just playfully slaps Harold like, no, you knock that off.
All right. I guess I am doomed and frightened.
Yeah, I was going to say.
And
there's a lot of
stupefied.
spell slots missing. There's some the status effects you could really use shaken off. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I got a rune that I want put on my sword. Like, let's just go back to Otari and take a breather here.
Giddy up.
You also have some stuff on the way from Absalom if you want to wait for a while. But
I think I'm going to go talk to Mr. Ralline. He seems very interesting.
Bit of a dick, though.
Do you want to talk to Telford?
I do, just because like any last bits of research or anything else, like, because real quick, I want to know if y'all have figured out like how we're supposed to use the lenses, and I also think that we should get the lattice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's part of going to town. So the way we're supposed to use the lenses is for everybody to have them and to pop the 2-action attack possession on Belcora, or to have one person with the lattice and just, I think it's 3 actions or whatever it is, hit her with that, and then ideally call down the ire of Nimbaloth. I would strongly suspect.
Yeah, with all the lenses in the lattice, right?
Yeah, or we could do it individually because there's 4 lenses and 4 of us.
Yeah, I think the big thing though is with the lattice, we can let Nick use it to bonker, and that would give us our best chance of hitting, because if we each hold a lens, I think that she gets to make a save against the DC, and some of those DCs are very low because we got them like 2 or 3 levels ago. So I think that, because if I remember reading the lenses, they push.
Read the lattice.
The silver and copper framework is shaped to hold 4 focusing lenses, one behind the other from smallest to largest. It has a socketed base to be mounted into a stand, such as that found in a lighthouse lantern. The fulcrum lattice was specifically designed to hold the 4 fulcrum lenses from smallest to largest: ebon, crimson, ochre, emerald, and it hums slightly while within 10 feet of any fulcrum lenses. A fulcrum lens slotted into the fulcrum lattice has no bulk. The lattice remains at 1 bulk and can be carried easily. Inserting or removing a lens from the fulcrum lattice requires a single interact action, and here's the important part. The fulcrum lattice channels the power of fulcrum lenses joined with it. While you hold the fulcrum lattice, lenses socket into it are considered to be in your hand for the purpose of activating their abilities. When you make a melee spell attack with a lens in the fulcrum lattice, you use the highest melee spell attack modifier of any lens in the lattice, or you can use your melee attack modifier with simple weapons if it is greater.
So Cam is right. They each have their own DC/attack modifier. However, you put them all into the fulcrum lattice, they use the highest of the options. Or if you have a higher one with the simple weapons, you choose that.
I mean, that sounds pretty fucking good.
So in theory, yes, it is most accurate in Nick's hands.
Actually not, because he's still only an expert in simple weapons.
Yeah, plus 14, unless it's a spear.
The highest of the lenses is what? Is the other question.
We don't have it yet.
Yeah, and we don't have them all. So the 4th one could be the highest.
I have 2 of them, it looks like. Okay. Somebody picked the one up from Volek.
So plus 18 is for the crimson. The emerald is plus 20.
Dang.
Oh, I have the ochre lens, I figured. Because I murdered that dumb bitch.
21.
Volok.
Okay, so the ochre would be the best chance of hitting them. So I guess it's probably either me or Ruff making that spell attack.
Well, it can be a simple weapon attack, so it's
I know, but
kinda anybody's game still.
that's plus 14 for simple weapons at the highest.
But mine's plus 14 anyway.
I know, but the spell attacks are 21. That's 7 higher.
Yeah.
I mean, you may have plus 5 from strength, 19, but yeah.
Unless anyone has simple weapons that are above 21, it means anyone can be wielding this and be the most accurate, basically.
Who's the least likely to get one-shotted by Belcora when the time comes?
Potentially me. I think I have the most hit points.
Maybe she has a thing for kobolds.
You're making strong
even
points.
my spell attack modifier is only plus 17.
Yeah, so I think it's either me or Nick. I think I have the best saves in the party.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Nick's right there with you with fortitude and reflex, though.
Yeah, it's just will I.
And canonically a coward.
Hence the wheel dump.
But cute, though.
I also think that because Beryl doesn't need to carry a weapon, it might be best for Beryl to carry this.
It's best for Beryl. You have matching AC, 4 more hit points, better saves, and a better attack modifier. Like, you are a better frontline fighter than our frontline fighter. Statistically.
A sturdier one. let's
Sturdier,
say.
yes. I am nowhere near
Let's
as
not say
dangerous
better.
as.
A single tear is just rolling down Nick's cheek as we're having this conversation right in front of him.
If I thought he was going to be a tough character, he would be more than 3.5 feet tall.
Valid.
That's quite
Hey,
fair, yeah.
shout out Short Kings.
But yeah, so we'll make it back to Aughrail and Talford, see if there's any new cool stuff we can learn. And then I guess to town.
Yeah, we did like truck that fuckload of books from Belcora's little area there up. Did we decide if there was anything to glean from those?
The Krugga Knight stole them all back.
Oh, all the books you trucked up. Yeah, you gleaned a lot from that. We did an info dump a while back. But as far as you know, the next bit of information, you're still waiting on, going back to get an update from Morlebent, who's continuing the research on Telford's notes. So that's your kind of next stop for information.
Well, let's get the hell out of here, and then we can talk to Talford on the way back in.
Cool. Head to town. Do you stop to talk with Telford there, Beryl, or?
I mean, wasn't really prepared to role play with myself, so.
I mean, you don't have. I'm just wondering if you're going to stay there while everyone else goes into town, or.
Yeah, I think Beryl will just stay.
Okay, so you head back up. Beryl stops in to hash out some information with Aughrail and Talford. Everyone else heads back to town. I mean, you're a little worse for wear. What's the first thing you do? You go for a rest? You're going to go talk to Morlebent? What do you want to do?
Rest first.
Morlebent's on the way,
Oh, never mind.
but we'll rest first.
I don't want to be bleeding all over them there books.
I can't let Kevin see me like this.
So I guess we just rest for the night in the library.
Sure.
Well, I mean, everyone, we can go back to town. Harold wants to sleep in his bed.
I feel like when you go back to town, you get this sort of like sense of comfort again from the citizens. It's been a lot of ups and downs over a long, long period. And recently, there was another attack on the town, and they were brimming with pride on the self-defense that they created. And now there's this sense of ease you get from the town. Not complacency, however, but readiness and happiness and confidence in their part of the mission, as it were. And so maybe that provides a little confidence for you as well. But there's just like a nice comforting feeling in the atmosphere of Otari. You can head to rest. The finally Ruff can eschew the sickened condition again. The frightened conditions can come off. The doomed conditions can increase or decrease by 1 full night's rest. I believe we have a 1 on Harold and just a 1 on Beryl as well. Yeah, so you're freeing yourself up quite a bit from the standard conditions you have. Back to square one. Probably a good place to be. Wherever it is you rest, it could be at the library. It could be, Tamily will put you up. You could have your own abode, such as Harold and his butcher shop. But come the morning, we'll go ahead and move the calendar ahead a day. Actually, yeah, because it was like 7:30 or so p.m. at night, 19 and a half or so. So we'll call it morning on the proverbial Saturday, the 3rd of Neth. And you can go about your day, perhaps visiting Morlabent first, is my guess.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
See what's up with the band.
Yo, Bent! You got the 411? That's what the kids say, right?
Yeah.
Cam is nodding vigorously on camera to say that's what the kids say.
Kids are all about dialing up informational services.
Quick, what's the number for 911?
So you enter Morlabent's shop. The name is escaping me. Odd Stories, and you are met by that familiar ding of the bell when you open the door. And sure enough, Morlabent is behind his counter. Oh, my dear friends, so good to see you, and do this voice again.
Enjoy it. You won't get too many more opportunities.
That's pretty grim.
In case anyone's wondering why Scott's portrayal of Harold has become a little cooler, Scott is wearing some cool-ass sunglasses right now.
And for the listeners, it is the evening.
And I'm indoors with the windows closed.
Oh, you're just in time. I was reviewing the notes I've made from these notes to cross-reference for accuracy. I have perhaps the final bit of information you've been looking for.
What'd you come to find, Morlabent?
Well, the final lens. With the Ebon, have you found it into your possession yet?
No, that we don't have that quite yet. Just the other 3. We got the ochre, though.
I understand. It will be essential, I think. But allow me to explain what I've discovered so far. It is perhaps the strangest and also perhaps the most powerful of these fulcrum lenses. It resembles a chip of smooth obsidian, yet it contains 3. It's quite specific on this. 3 dark glimmers of Nimaloth's essence. And incorporeal creatures can even touch this lens, which is a strange thing indeed. Should you invest this item and bestow its magics upon yourself, and you are a corporeal creature like us here, you would find yourself becoming insubstantial. You would find yourself drained, yet also incorporeal. As he explains further, you can see I've actually added this to the stash so everyone can take a look. If you invest this item, you will gain the incorporeal trait, and become drained 2. However, the drain condition cannot be reduced below 2 as long as you are infested. You can activate the lens in a couple of ways, as the others. But both activations require expenditures of the glimmers within the lens. And once it is depleted of all 3, it retains the ability to make corporeal creatures insubstantial, but can't be used for its other abilities. So it has a sort of like, what's the word I'm looking for? Charges, basically. It's got 3 charges. The first thing it can do is a reaction that is once per day. The requirement is that at least 1 glimmer remains within the lens. And you also possess yourself the rejuvenation ability, which none of you do. The trigger is that you would be destroyed and are able to rejuvenate. And for the first 24 hours after you rejuvenate, you get a bonus to your attack rolls, saving throws, DCs, and you also, of course, reduce the number of glimmers remaining within the lens. Highly defensive, very much in your opponent's favor. The other thing you can do is a 2-action interact and activate once per day. At least 1 glimmer remains in the lens. You draw upon a glimmer of the Nimblot's essence of power, reduce the number of glimmers within the lens, of course, and you become quickened for 1 minute and gain a +1 item bonus to attack rolls, saving throws, and DCs. Just like the other one, you can use this extra action to stride or step, or for an action in a special ghost ability you have. All signs point towards... All signs point towards this having never left Belcora's possession. You will need to pull this from her grasp, I think. The upside, however, seems that it is not required to be in the Fulcrum Lattice to accomplish your goal. This lens lacks the same possession effects as the others. But using the ones in your possession are just as important as taking this from her possession.
So we gotta sneak this away from her. Grab it right out of her cold, dead hands.
Take the lens, hit her with a rainbow punch. Got it.
Like a rifle from an NRA card-holding member.
I was thinking a Care Bear countdown.
From my cold dead hands.
Thank you so much for all your help in this Morlament. We appreciate everything that you and Kevin have done for us, including safeguarding the lattice. I think we will be taking that from you now as the end game approaches.
I suspected as much. I won't lie, it's been a thrill to uncover these secrets for you. But it hardly overshadows my fear for your position. What lies ahead of you seems a nigh impossible task. But you have all surely already done the impossible. So I shan't fret too much, though I can't promise how Kevin will feel.
Thank you, Morlabin. Tell Kevin I said sup. Okay, just kidding. Thank you,
And he will
Morlabin.
have the stew ready. You meant sup, as in like supper, right? That's
Yeah,
what you
you
meant.
heard me.
Yeah. Are you supplying the meat? Butcher of Otari.
Morlabin, we do appreciate your ongoing help in this regard. Any last words of advice that you might have for us after all you've done?
Oh, my dear Harold. Should I have any parting words for you, would be to set your focus upon the goal. You will surely find distractions, things meant to pull your focus away from what is needed to succeed. Dare I say it, said things could even be the turmoil and potential demise of your own companions. This goes for all of you. What you face, I now understand, is a graver threat than anyone could have ever predicted. Those with power within Absalom, if they had even an inkling, they would be here. But we do not have that sort of time to convince them. Focus on the goal. Use the lenses. Destroy the ghost of Belcora. That is how we will see this to an end.
My eyes are on my quarry. And I ain't coming back unless she's gone or I'm in a pine box.
Come now, we'd at least give you oak.
Raphael reaches up and shakes Morlabint's hand with both paws. Thank you, Morlabint. It has been the honor of many lifetimes to stave off the darkness with you. I wish you and Kevin all of the happiness, should we not meet again.
An honor indeed. Though mine is singular, while yours seems to be plentiful. I cannot express just how important, large, and wholesome this singular honor is.
Thank you, Morlabint, though we haven't...
Oh,
known each
Nick,
other
you're
long.
here too. Oh, my
Oh,
God.
Jesus
I'm
Christ.
So sorry. You scared me there. Just a little bit low below the... sorry.
Did you not... I'm so excited. Did you not see my tail wagging?
Yeah, it's Harold and
No.
3 children.
You know, I told you all 3 of us should get in a trench coat and we wouldn't have this problem anymore.
Sorry, do say your piece, Nirkaj.
Thank you, though. I know we haven't known each other long. We have much to discuss down the road. You've been a great friend to us so far.
Indeed. I look forward to the settling of your kind with an Otari, with a better relationship than the history of this town has had. I'm sure your people have many great stories to tell from their times living in the warrens below.
Oh, I guess you could say we've had some odd stories of our own.
Oh!
A little kobold humor for you.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Oh.
And Harold turns and heads towards the exit.
So say they all.
And with a ring of the bell, you leave Odd Stories, ready to continue your quest.
As Harold enters the lively streets of Otari, how long are we waiting for our items to come?
Yeah, that's the next question. That's what I was going to bring up. They will arrive tomorrow, basically.
I need to wait to get my rune added anyway.
Yeah, and then you've ordered runes as well, so you'll need another day to add those. So you can wait 2 more days, basically, if you want, and be extra prepared. Might be a good opportunity to review what you have in stock as well. I know there's more than a few talismans which we rarely use, but could become very useful coming up if they're kept in mind. But yeah. Anywhere else in town you want to go? Do you actually want to wait all this time? You tell me.
I mean, I think it's a good call.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I mean, I want that conducting rune before we go back in. So
Yeah, right. Okay, so Beryl, is there anything you want to do whilst in the library below, or are you just taking some time? Do you come up to the town? Let's just assume we're going to wait 2 days and get everything done, because you have a couple armor potency runes on the way, plus some obsidian goggles and a fire jump ring. That's what I have listed here.
Yeah, I think that I honestly think Beryl would probably convince Talford to come out too, just to like at least go get smokes before, you know, he scurries back into his den like a fucking weirdo that he is. And then yeah, I think she would just spend a lot of time just wandering around the town and just taking in the food, helping where she can, going to the druid circle, and just, is it Tailwind? No, it's not Tailwind.
Whirlwind,
there it is.
It's actually not even like wind, it's Whirlwind, like WRLIWINN. Like, but it just sounds like a druid.
Yeah, that's
like
just
a druid name.
dumb and wrong then.
Whirlywind, no, Whirlwind.
But just talking, like just trying to engage in community, like Mulgrim, like still that dwarven pantheon of like, you know, like I said earlier, like leave it easier for the next person, just helping where she can. Like she enjoyed taking the night off early, like hang out with Talford and Augriel, just reading, like listening to poetry. But now she's like back to work.
There must be a sense for everyone here, knowing that you're waiting for a good purpose. You're not like procrastinating. You're waiting for a purpose to give you an edge, but also your next step is to face, as far as you know, the final moments, the most deadly part of this adventure. Whether we're here for like halfway through, or you heard the story
last
from
week.
the beginning, like, you know, the last week, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter. Like you've heard all the stories. Surely there's a sense of like, you know, anxiety, maybe even a sense of, I have to go spend some time to say goodbye, even if you aren't specifically saying goodbye. Is anyone here played Final Fantasy X?
Yeah.
There's a moment, spoilers from a long time ago, there's a moment in that story when the main character realizes that the other character that they have volunteered to follow on a sort of like pilgrimage has always made a moment to stop and have a moment alone in every place they go. And there's a moment when he realizes that she's stopping to say goodbye because she's going to die when she completes her pilgrimage. And he didn't realize it from the beginning. And it's this really poignant moment where he's like, no, like I will have to stop the death. Like I didn't, you know, everyone around him knew it. And like, it just reminds me of that. Like, you know, you're going to extraordinary danger, and maybe in your own silent way, you need to say goodbye some way, somehow.
Yeah.
So how does each of you do that?
I think Beryl is like just community oriented because she was ostracized from her own. Like she just wanted to find somewhere that she could belong, and adventuring never really had her settle like that. So she just wants to have the people that every town she leaves behind remember her fondly, like not in a like grandiose hero way, but just like as the person that, you know, mended a kid's scraped knee and, you know, offered them a delicious treat, or just, you know, just small, mundane, very normal, basic, not chosen one bullshit, but just was there.
It's
and
nice
helped.
to know that wherever you've been, you've left a positive mark.
And not even like a spectacular way, just like, you know, they may, oh yeah, I remember Beryl, you know, that's it.
What about Harold? This is Harold's home.
Yeah, so Harold, you know, grew up in the town. He's lived here his whole life, apart from being abroad. So he grew up with people like Longsaddle, like Menhimes, and he knows these people very well. Came to know Rin when she arrived. And I think that he would be doing his laps. And, you know, he goes to check in I think he'd start with Long Saddle. So he goes to the barracks,
Oh, okay.
pushes the doors open, sees a clerk. Was Long Saddle around today?
What time of day do you do this, you think?
Midday.
Midday?
Oh, he's at the bar.
He's been pounding back the booze. Yeah, the clerk kind of like startles, looks at you, doesn't recognize you, real young face, but like gets that sort of vibe of authority. Like, oh, this is someone important. I don't know who they are, but clearly they're important, and just
So hot.
politely says, "Give me a sec." Yeah. runs off and cracks the door open. You can hear him talking to Longsaddle, and Longsaddle's like arguing back, like, "No, I don't have time." Blah, blah, blah. But then because the door is cracked, Longsaddle like catches a glimpse of you. It's like, "Oh, yeah, it's fine. You know, it's fine. Just go back to your paperwork." And so the clerk leaves, and Longsaddle, he doesn't close the door, and Longsaddle gets a little irritated by that. And Longsaddle just waits for a sec, try to play the authoritative game, makes you wait, then finally gets up, walks out the door. "Butcher, what can I do for you?"
Oh, I just thought I'd come and check in on an old friend. I know that you and I ain't always seen eye to eye. Me being a little transient, I guess, if you will, coming and going at my own will, but being a member of this community. And we're going down to do some work. Making a last stand, if you will. I wanted to thank you. Thank you for taking care of this town. Getting them into fighting shape. Sleepy Otari ain't as sleepy as it used to be. And I think you had a big hand in that.
If I have learned something in all my years, it's that there are people unseen doing the great work that sees you live to the next day. Such is the individual of an army, or the commander of one, on a different part of the battlefield. Don't get me wrong, I agree that you and I have seldom seen eye to eye. We've chosen very different lots in life. But truth is, I don't see any more nearer eye to eye with anyone who's stayed in town. I guess that's just my lot in life. Otari will hold its own. I pray to the gods you do too.
Well, if I don't make it back, I know that you'll keep the town strong and keep the fight going. And if I don't make it back, thank you again.
And we'll bury a barrel on your behalf. And I lay claim to any dry-aged beef you got in that cellar. Gives you a cheeky smile.
Wait a few weeks just in case. I might crawl up on out of here before you get your hands on any of that. And he kind of turns around, starts to walk away.
I promise nothing, but I'm at least claiming that jerky.
Door closes behind him.
Near Kosh, How you feeling about facing down the last opponent, not having properly informed your people of the dragon at this weird crossroads?
Yeah, so I think he would, kind of hat in hand, go get absolutely shit-faced for 2 days. No,
telling old war stories.
yeah, they just have to drag him out, and he's talking like Yin Yasmira by the time he's done. No, I mean, I think he would take a moment to reflect on the fact that he does, have a place that he feels at home, and that he does feel like he has some obligation, and that, what was a kind of aimless to an extent, just like a series of actions and consuming and more action and violence in a search for vainglorious kind of reputation, has turned into something much more noble. So yeah, I think he would take that moment, and it would kind of hit him that he has this obligation not just to the town but to his people, and he would duck into the thirsty alpaca, or what remains of it, to talk to the adamant. And he fully expects himself to come back, because he's also kind of hoping that he's going to pull another feather out of his ass and be really good in the fight. But he also realizes if he doesn't, there's a legacy to leave behind, and information that is underground and should not remain there.
So you continue to keep things close to your chest and just enjoy the moment as you can.
Yeah, and well, no, he will go over to the thirsty alpaca and try to flag down the adamant just for a quiet conversation.
Yeah, and people, all the kobolds, like, they greet you so heartily and pat you on the back and on the shoulder and stuff, but it,
yes, I'm the tallest one here.
when you make it obvious that you're seeking out the sort of leader of the group, someone eventually guides you along, in fact shooing some of the kobolds away. And they start to get the vibe. Okay, no, a private conversation needs to happen, and you are ushered away to a reasonably private spot. And the adamant gestures for you to sit, offers you a drink, and sort of just waits for you to express yourself. Is ready to listen.
Adamant, it's good to see you. It's good to see the people doing well. You should know that we're approaching what could be the end game here, what could be a very decisive moment for not just us, but this town and everything around it.
I suspected such a thing. The excitement of the dragon below, it still stirs within our people. And I continue to wonder if you have news on this front. But also
I do have news.
I also see that our people are growing more and more invested in this community. I have stilled myself on being too evangelistic about the goal of our ancestors past. I am eager, willing, ready to stir them once again. However, I see the good of this place, and I am at a loss of what the proper guidance will be. You have a great task upon you, but I will ask you for your guidance. I will ask you to bear one more burden. I am unsure how to direct the stone scales.
I wish I had a definite answer for you, but as I said, the task is still ahead of us. What I will say is, if you're struggling to stir these people, perhaps what we have here has stirred them enough. Because what I have seen underground, none of it has been good. What I see up here has been good, and everything down there, despite it being powerful, despite it being impressive, I'm not sure that's the path that we should be taking. I don't know how much you know of this dragon, but he looked like it was living in another dragon's home. Everything that I thought was and the power I wanted for myself, wanted for us. It seemed to be nothing but a charade, nothing but a projection. I think we have something better up here to focus on. If all of us survive this in the end, we can worry about our dedication to the dragon later.
I think I understand what it is you're trying to say. It has not been that I have struggled to stir them. It's been that I have struggled whether or not I should continue to stir them, because you are right. They have already been stirred by the community, this Otari, these people, this unique community. Independent, stubborn, at arm's length at the beginning, but so accepting of others before too long. I have seen our kind helping and being helped everywhere. And the laughter and the confidence and the pride that is freely shared amongst all. Well, quite frankly, it stirs me. So perhaps we shall wait until your quest is done to make a decision. And perhaps the decision is to do nothing at all.
Well said. I too have been impressed by the laughter of the small stone-scale children. It sounds like gravel being thrown around in a bucket. Thank you, Adamant.
But like one of those plastic buckets you give to children on the beach, right? It's a kind of a really adorable kind of rattling sound.
Yeah. Big rocks.
Big rocks, small plastic bucket.
So say our ancestors.
Amen.
The aphorism is firmly placed in our beliefs.
Level up.
Ah, nice.
Nice.
Shit. Raphael, you're the last. Raphael has a very certain type of isolation in this whole emotional arc. Tell us what you got, James.
We pick up on Raphael entering this small, dust-caked home of Arthur.
Oh, God.
It takes a deep breath for him to be able to cross the threshold. But when he finally does, he's able to let it go, and a tear almost immediately comes to his eye, as he most certainly already knows the fate that's befallen his uncle. He just hasn't had the ability or the time to deal with it. So he runs a paw along a counter in the kitchen towards a framed photo of Arthur and family, long before Raphael was ever born. He picks up the photo, and he falls heavily into Arthur's favorite, well, his only chair. He spends the night just wallowing in sadness, just giving over to misery and grief, knowing that he'll never get to tell his uncle everything he needed to or everything he wanted to, at least not on this plane. And then the idea strikes him that even though he feels alone, he's not. He looks over into the corner and sees Arthur's tools and gear and realizes that there's still always going to be a connection to those that are gone. So he stands up as dawn's first light breaks through the window, sheds his breastplate, and it hits the floor with a heavy thud, removes his cream-colored robes, and slips into one of Arthur's old black and white striped bathing costumes, throws on one of his ancient castaway bucket hats, and picks up his very first fishing rod. And after a couple of stops, Ruff finds himself sitting on the very edge of the dock at Otaru, feet dangling, hot coffee, and lure in the water. And he just spends that morning just drinking the coffee that reminds him of Samal and fishing in the waters where Arthur taught him how to fish and swim. And in the distance, he sees a schooner turning around and making a break for the open seas as the Pashman Lancier finally leaves the isle.
What?
Yeah.
I just got chills. Oh my god, take a picture of those goosebumps.
And just as the sun is setting, Ruff puts his rod down and dives into the water and begins to play in a way that he hasn't done in memory in this body whatsoever. You know, laughter rings out. The sound of splashing probably brings people to the dock. And I think he starts an impromptu pool party in the ocean. There's a lot of tension in the city, and everybody kind of needs to just shrug it off. And he knows, almost certainly, that this is the last time he'll be here.
Yeah.
So he's just doing his best to enjoy every last minute of it.
I think a couple of fishers walk up the dock and they see you in the water, and they're like, and one of them's like, "Is he okay out there?" And I was like, "Oh, he's fine." He's like, "Are you sure? He doesn't look like a very strong swimmer." And the other one's like, No. Remember, just if the bobber's going up and down, you're surely not to drown. And but if it's just staying still, you need some help, kind of thing. He just has some weird like analogy. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, but I should check just in case, And one of them like jumps in, gets up to you, and you're like just having a time,
Yeah, splashes him.
Yeah, soggy sausage roll in hand. Yeah, and then slowly but surely, like, oh, yeah, come on, people coming off shift, and the sun's coming down, and before you know it, there's like this sort of like impromptu, quote unquote, pool party, and
the flume's turned into a water slide.
Yeah, someone calls up to stop the flume for the day, but let the water run.
Calort's just like, cannonball.
Thor just does a belly flop through the whole thing.
Huh?
Absolutely. Yeah. And then by the end of the night, like, Tamley's cursing because everyone's walked into the games hall sopping wet. So, like, it's just slippery floors everywhere.
Her peg legs slide
no one's
all
bothered
over
to
the
dry
place.
off.
Yeah.
Oh, too good. Awesome. And for the entirety of that party, for the latter part of that party, when everyone gets back to the games hall, the snacks are being passed around, the drinks are flowing, but everyone's kind of they're more elated on the moment than they are any drinks. The drinks aren't really flowing that much. People are happily having snacks, but they're just getting their energy from the moment, the games, the camaraderie, and at some point, this lady comes up to you, Ruff, with a tray of snacks, and it's Debbie. And she has lemon bars on the tray. And she says to you, "It's your uncle's recipe. Enjoy."
Is she snickering like you are?
I think Freeman's crying right now.
Just filled with catnip. She's trying to poison Ruff night before the last. It's just Belcora in disguise. Turns out Debbie was the big bad evil guy the whole time.
It's Debbie. It's Kevin in disguise of Debbie.
Yeah.
This recipe dies with the Shoonies.
Ruff thanks her with all the honesty and truth he has in his heart, but he waits until she leaves to even and he just sneaks one, takes a bite of it, puts it immediately back on the tray, pushes the tray away, realizes that it is Uncle Arthur's recipe, and just pulls the tray immediately closer.
Oh, and yeah, there's a sense of just past, present, and future, all in the energy of these people, on the cusp of danger and destruction. You know, they've bottled it all into one.
Yeah, it's the Matrix Zion rave, but in Otari.
They're high on life, baby.
Exactly. Exactly.
I think as the party is winding down, Harold is kind of hanging about and maybe sees Ruff as he's on the way out. Says, perhaps we should gather the other members of our party and go and talk to Rin one last time before we head down.
He looks down at the one-piece bathing suit he's wearing.
I mean, you can go and get
No, wear that. This is fashion.
Where you originally said that, I immediately went back to those 1950s photos you see or whatever.
Yeah,
or 1920s,
that's exactly what he
you
looks
know, yeah.
He's wearing that, but it's a bucket hat with a bunch of lures in it.
That's so good.
And he's a little pug. These words are wise. Rin began this. There is no good reason why she should not be a part of the end, no? Let me change, and I shall meet you there just past midnight. They have midnight, Otari?
attaboy.
Sure. Well, consider it midnight on the night before you have your stuff finished. So in the morning, you'll be ready to go.
And he'll skip home and get changed and head up to Rin's Wonders.
You approach Rin's Wonders, quiet little nook in the northwestern part of Otari. A strange little shop, as you might remember. Doesn't get a lot of traffic other than some of the traders coming through. Rin's always been a bit of a unique creature in the town. And she, of course, true to form, is ready and waiting with a pot of tea. You sometimes wonder if she knows if you're coming, or if she just always has a pot of tea ready. Both could very much be true.
Charlatan.
Just dumping cold tea out when nobody shows up.
Oops.
She says, you see, my method is way more reliable than that of Tulok's throwing bones.
Talking shit about him while he's dead.
Didn't see that tongue coming, did he?
Oh, no. But as you step into Rin's Wonders, she begins to pour the tea. And she gives Raphael a knowing look. They've already had their moment of, realization and discovery of this impossible old man Ruff before her. She seems to accept you immediately without question, without a worry, with acceptance.
He bows shallowly to her and takes the cup.
And she waits quietly for either you to speak or for the others to arrive. And slowly, everyone does. At this point, if you want, Cam, of course, Beryl could have come back to town and joined this sort of procession.
I figured I was there when she made the comment
Yeah.
about Ruff's bathing suit. No, where?
Oh, sure, yeah. Fair enough.
I'm not going to have a party and not invite Metal Shoe Barrel.
Yeah, come on.
piss off the downstairs neighbors.
Yeah, Yin Yasmer was standing up the dock going, metal shoes, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Throw someone in the water with metal shoes. That's
No. Again, that's not. No. I will go get Halford.
She gets it.
But slowly but surely, everyone arrives at whatever time they arrive, and everyone's tea is poured. And there's a sort of moment of comforting silence. And Rin says, "So you take the final approach."
We do.
Not those who I dispatched upon the mysterious mission, but those who have taken up the torch to finish a danger beyond all imagining. It is more than I could have predicted, more than the stars could have ever told me. More than I would have ever asked.
She particularly eyes Raphael at that last sentence.
What you set in motion, Rin, we intend to finish. Though we weren't here for the humble beginnings of what some may call an adventure, we're here to close this book. Belcora and all the evil in Nimbeloth below. Cleanse this town of evil. Take up the mantle of the Rose Guard, which they thought complete, but we know now has been festering below for oh so long.
Longer than we could have ever imagined. But the generations of the Rose Guard have reclaimed this place. And they have formed a new family. It is Otari and his namesake. We are the Rose Guard that will see the mission through, both in the depths and on this home front.
Rin, I ask you, maybe one more time, you could look to the stars, to the great powers above that give you sight unseen, and ask them, do we take the final lens from Belcora? Or try to destroy her without it? Such risk. But maybe such power.
She nods, of course, knowing that what little she can offer is still more than nothing. And she aims her face to the stars above, her blank white eyes staring into the cosmic caravan and all of the stars and pinpoints that surround it. And she performs her ritual of reading what could be. And as she does, her brow furrows. Her face begins to look a bit strained. She starts to sweat. She starts to tremble. And suddenly, she lets out a pained cry and almost falls off her chair. One of you comes to catch her, and Beryl swoops in quickly, and she snaps out of this trance that she usually goes into. And she turns to Beryl and says, "Hostile forces. Oh, they have brushed up against me. I cannot help. It is too much. There are things that wish you to fail, and they have intervened. I'm sorry." She rolled a natural 1, by the way, on her astrology check.
No, it is okay. You did your best. We asked a lot of you. As we get closer and closer, I am sure that there are many entities that would conspire against us to see us fail. Yeah, just rest easy, please have a seat. And Beryl will just help her back into her seat.
Give her a cam point.
Oh, here, you can have a cam point.
Oh, I'll use that to re-roll my check, shall I?
Yes, please, right away.
The fault lies not with you, Rin, but with me, I am sure. I have angered Pharasma, and perhaps this is the manifestation of one of their curses. But I hope to do them justice in the morrow. So for those of you who don't remember, Ruff has a moderate curse of Pharasma. Jim can just take a 1 on an augury test.
Yeah. And Rin sort of nods her head. And, you know, maybe not an acceptance, but at least understanding of what you've said. And she says, I have set this into motion. I know it was the right thing to do. But still, the death and pain that was and is to come, it is my burden. I cannot help. Instead, I ask for your help. Share this burden with me. See it through to the end.
We will.
Stemming the Tide is an actual play podcast of the Adventure Path Abomination Vaults and is produced by the Uncharted North Network. Stemming the Tide uses trademarks and/or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Stemming the Tide is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com. Music is composed by Will Savino and artwork by Greyhood. Stemming the Tide is recorded remotely using Foundry Virtual Tabletop. If you wish to connect with us or support this project and projects to come, we can be found at unchartednorth.ca, patreon.com/unchartednorth, and on all major social media platforms. Links to all credits can be found in the episode description and our website. Thanks for tuning in.